Hello, what's the crack, and welcome back to the -4 podcast. On this week's panel, we have in the red corner, standing at under 7 foot and a head bigger than those in Easter Island, it's Aidan Ferry. In the blue corner, standing at 4 foot nothing and looks like he smoked a fat one before he came on the show, it's Patrick Gribben.
Well, one of those statements is true.
With a knack for makeup and a dress sense so blinding it would make Ray Charles see, it's our ring girl, Darren Duggan. And finally, we have the judge who started the season being clueless and now just is able to hide the fact that he is. I am your host, Killian Ferry, and welcome back to episode... What episode are we on now, boys?
We're on week 29 now.
We're on episode 29 or 30 of the -4 podcast. You're very welcome back. So the reason I introduced the week like it was a boxing match was because it was an absolutely knockout games this week with teams like Villa, Arsenal, Newcastle, allowing a lot of FPL players to ring up a lot of points. And with that, let's swing it on over to our first team there, and we'll see how they got on. Who do we have? So Darren, how did you get on this week? Are you happy or?
Sorry, I'm just on the terms with that intro there. It was very, very energetic. I feel like I'm not matching the energy.
Yeah.
I got 59 the last game week. That would have been game week 28 before the international break. So, went with a free hit. Actually, I forgot what I done. I went for a free hit, and it didn't work out as well as I would have liked it to work out. I think the main reason why is didn't put the captaincy on Saka, and anyone who did put the captaincy on Saka seen a good return. Son didn't really do it for me either, but I'm glad because I was going to put the captain on Son for the crack. I ended up putting it on Kane. And then all the other players, look, decent return on Martinelli as well, but would have hoped for a little bit higher in the free hit. But look, happy enough, 59. So. Green arrow, so still good.
At the end of the day, what more do you want? You get the green arrow. It's, again, you said yourself, 59, whatever, but green arrows, whether you get a high score or low score, if you get a green arrow, it doesn't really matter, does it?
Yeah, no, true. Just, I suppose, like, looking back, like, I probably should have maybe went a little bit outside the box a little bit more. But having said that, them players seemed like the right players to pick at that time. And, the likes of Isaac was a great pick. I think you had him in Nathan. Just looking back, like, you know, if I changed him for Watkins, you know, you'd be up on your nearly 70 mark points right away. But that's just the way it goes. That's the free hit used, so it's done now.
A certain person had him as his cheeky pick, didn't they, Killian?
Yes, that was my pick of the week. Was Mr. Isaac, and Jesus, did he come through?
What did you say about this? Is what Killian said about it.
I'll have to send you a $5 for that tip, by the way, Killian.
That's a type. Listen. Right, okay. So we'll move on to the next team. Sure, good stuff, Darren. Who do we have here now? We have So Fresh It's Clean.
It's my team, yeah. Nothing too special this week.
Yeah.
So this week I got 61 points out of 10 players, so outdone Darren, even though I had one less player playing, so I'll take that.
Oh, wow.
Thanks, Patrick.
The shade.
Oh, we're still in the boxing ring here. The jabs being thrown. Like, what's going on?
Although it was a pretty crap week, as you can see. So, I mean, I had Balaga with 1 point, Trippier, Henry, Zinchenko, all blanked. James actually got an assist, but he let in 2 goals and got a yellow card, so we only got 3 points. So, what can you do there? And then he got injured, so yeah, love that from him. But I did have captain on Saka, which was a great shout as it turned out, and basically was the difference between a crap week and a really good week. So yeah, that's a small difference, but I did like Saka's fixture. I thought he would do well in that game, so turned out well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Saka pick was, I suppose, Darren's downfall, but you're kind of, if Darren had that, sure, look at the score he'd be at, you know.
Yeah.
I think it was just such a good captain shout, to be honest. But there was like so many this week that you could have thought, oh, this is going to be a good week for them. For some people, Martinelli, they could have gone for Isaac. A lot of people putting it on Kane, including myself, thinking that it would have come to a bit more points, but sure, that's the risk you have to take with this chip, I suppose, and you just placed it well. Yeah,
That's so true. Actually, what you just said, Killian, like that front five, like all could have been captain as well. Like, so it is such big swings. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
It would have been pretty amazing if you had thrown the captaincy on Isaac as well, Killian. After
do you know what? I was supposed to. I freaking had it on the wrong man. I went in there and I was like, he's
heard that before.
I was actually going to. Funny enough.
Yeah, I'm sure you were. Yeah.
I actually was, because it was St. Patrick's Day and I was a little bit under the influence at that time, and I actually took out Haaland for Isaac at the time, and all the lads at the table were trying to dare me to captain Isaac after taking Haaland out for him, but thank God I stuck with Saka anyway.
Yeah, like we talked last week too. When you put that in, I was sitting there thinking, why is he worried about taking Haaland out for Isaac? One, considering he wasn't even playing. Two, we were talking about it last week too, about how so many people are going to take out Haaland for the 2 weeks at least to test the waters and see how it goes. But
yeah,
when you put that text in, I was kind of confused. It's like, why is he saying that's a bad thing?
It's the fact that it's the fact that even though he plays like 2 more games than Haaland could score more than him in 1 week against anyone. So that's that's where my fear was coming in.
It's fair enough too, I suppose. Right. So I suppose we'll move on to myself. No idea what I'm at. Indeed, 67 points. I was. You know what? I was actually happy this week. I got Mendy's a green arrow this week, so I'm very happy with myself. I am not a very good showing from my backline. Cash coming in with 6 there now, but everybody else was just like, I will hold hands and get blanks together. And Kepa obviously then with only the 1 point. My captain on Kane, I thought Kane would have done a wee bit more. I did plan on having it. I think I even said on the pod that I was going to captain him, but Isaac, but I didn't. But Isaac and Saka obviously just stealing the show there, all in all. So all over, I'm happy enough with the week. Like I can't really say much bad about it. 67, okay, it's not the highest score in the world, but as I said about Darren's team as well, whether you get or Patrick, I can't remember who it was. If you're getting that green arrow, it doesn't really matter how high or low it was. At least you're showing that your team is improving in the leagues and stuff. So
when the average for the week is 33 points and you've doubled that, then it's going to be a good week all around. Yeah,
that's it. Right. Okay, let's move on now to Jota on the wing, big man himself.
Yeah. Fucking absolutely delighted with this week. To be fair, after having all the blanks in defense, obviously Isaac was the Friday night game, so that was a great start to the week, and then in the middle of it, those Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, all the games were just not really going my way. Everyone in defense blanking. Maddison only getting 1 assist after having like a really, really good, solid performance. Tony kind of didn't do great. And then Kane was just, Spurs themselves were a bit lackluster. But really, it was just Isaac and Saka bringing through all of the points, really. Isaac was phenomenal on Friday, actually. I was watching that game live in the pub, and it was brilliant. He took his first goal like brilliantly. The ball was behind him and he just pulled out a flick from behind. It was brilliant to watch. And then obviously knowing he's on penalties as well is huge. And I think with Callum Wilson kind of missing nearly every second game these days, I think he's probably going to be there to stay for now at least. And then obviously Saka pulling out a masterclass. So very, very lucky I had him as my captain this week. And for the first time this year, we are inside the top 10k for the first time since last year. So we're currently sitting at about 4.5k rank worldwide. So beat my record last year. I think I finished 8k last year. So, but I don't think I really went higher than 6k. So hopefully we're there to stay, and hopefully now with this double coming up now, we'll have loads of double game week points coming in. So Yeah, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed we can stay there for another while.
Never mind the hope we stay there. Jesus, you could keep going up, you know.
Well, that's it.
So long as you don't fall down.
Well, sure, like that's it. Like you saw how much the swing was this week. I was like 17, 18k last week, and just Isak and Captain Saka brought me from 17 to 4.5. So you know, if the opposite happens next week and I choose the wrong captain, I could well be right back there. So the margins are very tight. So I think if we can,
fantasy player is going to get that moment where they've put the captain on the wrong player. That's going to drop them down a couple of k. Like
that's it. At the minute, been enjoying it. So
sure you get that.
Can carry on.
Good stuff. Right, lads. Well, sure, I suppose we'll move on. We'll look at this week's upcoming fixtures. We have this absolute mess of a thing that we look at every week. Thank you very much again, Ben Crellin, for creating this masterclass. And lads, do one of you want to kind of take us quickly through, I suppose, this week? Well, actually, I'll look at this week. Sure, why won't I? I am posting it this week. Right. So we have... quite a few doubles going on this week, lads. It's a very juicy week for Villa, Bournemouth, Brentford, Brighton, Chelsea, Leeds, Leicester, Liverpool, United, Newcastle, Forest, and West Ham. So plenty of choice at doubles there in, I suppose, capitalizing all the points that you can possibly can out of all these people, because a lot of people... Now, coming from the last 2 weeks, they still have a lot of players who will be doubling up this week. And then with last week and maybe this week, they could be filling. Some people could end up on a full 11 of doubles this week. Is that a good choice to have the full 11 doubles this week? What do you think, boys?
Definitely.
I think you should get all 15 doublers now.
Definitely, if you have the right fixtures, I suppose, if they're good fixtures, yeah.
Yeah. We talk a lot about not chasing the doubles, though. That sometimes following those single games, like we have Arsenal there, don't have the double, but they have Leeds. That's still a very good game for them.
That's the big question.
For a lot of points, you know.
That's a great point, Killian. Actually, because I currently have 3 Arsenal players,
and I'm the same myself
on my bench.
I'm not the same myself.
Well, if I were to pull a possible bench boost,
yes.
And just the question on everyone's lips this week is whether they sacrifice one of them for a doubler or whether you back them to haul against Leeds.
Yeah, but I think it's a good topic of conversation. Like, I mean, I think if you have 3 Arsenal players on the bench, I mean, without a doubt, it's definitely worth bench boosting because they're playing Leeds, and Leeds are a bit all over the shop at the moment, and Arsenal are,
on form.
Great.
Yeah. I think the real question is for a lot of people is do you sacrifice, say, an Arsenal player like a Martinelli or whoever it may be for, maybe your Luke Shaws or your Bruno Fernandez's, and try and chase those lads that are doubling. So it's a fine line, but like as we can see there, Man United have Newcastle and Brentford. The reverse fixture earlier on in the year, what score did Brentford beat United? And then obviously Newcastle being so defensively solid. I know they haven't been keeping a huge amount of clean sheets, but it's only ever really been one, or maybe one that wasn't deserved. So there's a lot of pause for thought. Like United don't have Casemiro as well this week, so maybe backing the United defenders isn't the safest option.
They have a goal-scoring CDM to replace him. Thank you very much,
Scotty McSauce.
There you go. I wouldn't be worried about the United double there. I think they've proved that they're well able to beat Newcastle, beating them in the league final there. I know they had Casemiro, but I think Rashford is definitely in for a good haul of points. I think the main thing when you're looking at these doubles are, we've seen it back when a lot of us brought in maybe Everton players, Wolves players in the double earlier on. It's like, you want to be looking at fixtures. Like, I wouldn't be loading up on Forest players, put it like that. Maybe Johnson or someone, but you're wanting to load up on maybe Brentford and Brighton players, what we all have done, I suppose.
Do you want to know my thinking on it, lads?
I might actually just stop you there, actually, because if you want to look at Brighton's fixtures past this double game week, you're talking Spurs, Chelsea, a blank, Like, so it's
2 easy games.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that a lot of us have them. A lot of us have them players in anyway. We're not going to be
exactly.
Taking
yeah, exactly.
For 9, but I mean, I have every faith that 3 Brighton players like Matoma, March, McAllister can perform against Tottenham and Chelsea. To be honest, I wouldn't really be worried about them fixtures, but
fair.
That's just me.
So the big thing here now is there's someone we're forgetting, lads, and it's Haaland. Like a lot of the boys, we're thinking of bringing in. We might have to. A lot of us don't have him at the minute, but we're going to want to get him back in as soon as possible.
Yeah,
for our sanity. So it's probably a gamble to like maybe take one of our cheap Arsenal boys and maybe go up to someone like Bruno Fernandes. We probably have the money in the bank to do that. But then it's how do we get Haaland back in our teams? Because we'll have to take a hit probably to get him back in the next game week, or we'll have to swap Kane out for him. Which
that's the secret. There is just making sure you have someone like Kane as a placeholder, then, because he can easily be. If you just keep $1 million or $2 or $1 million and a bit in the bank, Kane to Haaland in a couple of weeks is going to be a really good choice. I think just from 30, maybe 31 onwards.
I think it'd be good to keep Kane though. Honestly, I think he's the second highest scoring player in the game.
Well, who's the highest scoring, Patrick?
Well, you would want to have both the highest scoring and the second highest scoring if you could.
Yeah. Like it's absolutely feasible, just as long as you're not tearing your own team apart to do so.
Yeah. So I think
as long as everything isn't getting risked for the sake of those two, then.
Yeah, we should all have a plan of how to get to Haaland if we've taken him out. Those who have him in still don't have that problem.
Is easy enough to get back to him because I didn't use my wild card yet when you all did. So what I'll be doing is Haaland's actually out at the moment in my team, and I'll be wild carding for 33, and I'll be getting him back in that way.
Oof, so you're going to go.
It's a really good tactic as well, Darren. To be fair,
I don't know. Look, it hasn't really paid off yet. I don't think, but we'll see. It might do going forward, but we'll have to see.
Only time will tell.
You're not going to have Haaland then for Southampton and Leicester.
No, I know I'm not, but
that's dangerous, man.
Yeah, well, look, took a risk, took him out, so we'll see what happens.
I mean, there's always the option out for myself. The -4 next week just gets him back in. If you do take, say, if you swap out, as you were saying, an Arsenal midfielder for Bruno this week, again, it's -4. For me, -4 isn't a big difference. If you think that change is going to make that and then some, sometimes it's worth the risk. So a -4, it could be as easy as that, as getting him back in, and then you have him back in for them two tasty little fixtures against Southampton and Leicester,
Yeah.
But
you have to think of the points this week and the points next week and try and, in your head, figure out what way is the best way to maximize the points here.
Yeah.
Just a question, lads, for those of you, all of us really, I mean, like the likes of Brighton 32 and like Man City 32, United 32 all blanking, or are you slowly trying to transfer out some of them players now to prepare for that?
Free hit, baby.
Free hit.
That's it. Yeah. Free hit, ready to rock.
Got my free hit ready to go for then.
Locked and loaded.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think we're going to use it then. The alternative would be to maybe use it in 34 to try and maximize all the doublers in that game week. So you would bring in, but then again, we're probably going to have Brighton players. And we're going to have, you could get triple Liverpool in, you could get triple Man City, triple Man United. You could get a really stacked team for that week if you wanted to maybe maneuver around game week 32 and then get them all in for 34, maximize the potential out of the doublers in that.
Yeah. I think it was just the reality that everyone's going to have 2-3 Brighton, at least 1 or 2 Chelsea, a City, minimum 1 United, minimum 1, it's I think even just to maximize the fixtures that are going on at the minute, I think just to have those lads in and then just take the free hit in 34, because the players that you don't have to get rid of for 32 will also then double again in 34, and It is 5 weeks away as well. So you're thinking if you can get there and have a good game week 34 team in 5 transfers in 5 game weeks, then definitely do that.
Yeah.
Just a question, boys. What about the thought of tripling up on, say, some of the Liverpool boys here now, because they don't have that blank coming up in 32 and they have 2 doubles on the way up? Would you be thinking about taking in or stacking up on them yourselves? I know they're not in the best form by any means at the moment, but they still could have a few good games in them. And looking at the fixtures there, okay, some of them aren't the kindest. The likes of this week's double against City and Chelsea, that's going to be a grueling one for them. They've Arsenal after, but then you look, they've Leeds, they've Forest, they've West Ham, and then Spurs, who could go anyway for them, to be honest, and Fulham. So they still have a good wee track of games after that. Would you be thinking about bringing them in now in the next few weeks? The likes of your Trent, the likes of your Salah, or even if I don't even want to say his name, Darwin Nunge,
I'd say just one. I'd say just maybe think of Salah going down the line.
Yeah.
And then just kind of see how the defense might stack up against City and Chelsea, Arsenal as well. Like if they can withhold some sort of pressure, then you might think of taking in a Trent or a Robertson. But I'd say
a little bit of Andy Robertson now, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd say personally myself, maybe just try and lean towards Salah maybe in 31, and then see where that may take me. But it's interesting to see as well, because Diogo Jota as well.
I was about to say, it's funny you mentioned this man Salah, because we have a lovely little slide here about him now. Talking about him in the past from versus his game week 29 opponents. We have a post here by, what does that say? Hey, Demovic.
Yep, prolific poster on the Reddit or the FPL subreddit. So shout out to that guy.
Yeah, shout out to this guy. So, Patrick, do you want to take us through this wee graphic here and let us know what the crack is?
Yeah, obviously you can see there for yourselves. For the listeners, it's 18 games played against United and 10 goals and 5 assists. Some of them were in the form of hat-tricks against that team, as I recall. I remember having Salah captained for one of those hat-tricks last time. And then against Chelsea, he's played 20 matches with 7 goals and 2 assists. So history shows that this is the type of team that Salah thrives against. A lot of us, would have taken Salah out recently. So there may be some maverick managers who want to bring Salah in. 12.8 million, obviously, he's very expensive. And you're probably going to maybe want to, if you want to gamble on him this week, you're going to have to hold him long term. And it might mean going without. You definitely won't be able to have Kane and Haaland if you bring in Salah. But I think there's a reasonable strategy here of bringing Salah in this game week, just holding him right through all the way to his nice double in 34. What do you think?
Yeah, no, definitely. There's definitely room for it there. Bruno Fernandes seems to be the more popular choice at the minute, and then to possibly to move on to Salah later. But yeah, you're right in what you're saying there. Like if you're thinking Kane, Haaland, possibly a Bruno or Trent or something like that, the funds are starting to stretch pretty thin. So I don't know.
Yeah. It's a tricky one.
I'm not convinced as much as would have been maybe last year, the year before that. I mean, Salah, exactly. He is a great player. Like when he's on his game, he's unplayable. But we all know the way Liverpool are this season. They go beat Hammer United, lose 1-0 to Bournemouth. So
yeah,
tough double game week for them. But yeah, it's definitely maybe worth a shout. But he's very expensive too. Yeah.
Yeah, you Man United fans have got that recent Liverpool game sort of lost in your short-term memory.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
pretend it never happened.
And what happened against Bournemouth then? Where was he?
Oh.
This is the thing.
There you go.
Okay. Well, funny we're talking about the old Man United boys at the moment. We can switch on over here. We've got another one going here now. But Rashford returns to light training. Marcus was able to get out on the grass at our training base on Monday, but the Reds' leading goal scorer could only take part in a small session away from the main group. There was no ball work involved. Are we worried now coming into this week? What do you think? I was looking at it there, and I seen that there was the caution on him. Do you think he's going to be able to play one or even two of the games?
Don't know.
I think he will play.
I'll definitely be keeping him, but it's whether the captain goes on him or not is the question.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that it'll just be very tight to the deadline. I'd say whenever my team gets finalized or the captaincy gets finalized, because you're just going to be waiting by the phone to see how he is like. So yeah, I think it's more so the question of if you're going to captain him or not. So
yeah.
And I mean, even if he does, if he doesn't play the full game and he does come on 10 minutes beat in the first fixture or the second of the game week, like he's still a threat to.
He can do a lot in them 10 minutes, like
we've seen that. But yeah, I think that makes a good point. Like hold off on the captaincy choice if you are thinking about Rashford.
Yeah, I think he probably would have been most people's first pick for captaincy this week if he had been, given a clean bill of health. I'm not sure whether or not he's going to play the weekend game. He'll probably play the second game in the double, which means I'm quite tempted to maybe gamble and take him out, because if he doesn't play, then he's it kind of ties into my plan of how I'm going to get Haaland back in, and I would like not to have to take out like one of my cheap Arsenal players and bring in an expensive player, because then I wouldn't easily be able to get back to Haaland without taking hits. So it might be a shout to get Rashford out for someone we know is going to play both matches.
Yeah, and
interesting one. Yeah, I personally would still pick Rashford with one game over most with doubles.
Yeah.
There is one player who might be a good shout.
There is, absolutely.
There might be, Patrick. Is there?
My segue got interrupted, but yes, we talked about it a few weeks ago. We were actually comparing those two
both
players. We have Maddison and we have Rashford, and we were comparing and contrasting whether we wanted to take them, and now it's all coming around again. We're having a similar conversation at the moment now, okay? So we have James Maddison has created 5 chances today, the most a player in his first England's men's start since Theo Walcott versus Andorra in September 2008, okay? Do you think he could be a danger man to be bringing in for the likes of, I suppose not a straight swap, but you could take him in for maybe Rashford? If you take out that extra 1 or 2 players, you could have him in there for Rashford, or even have him as well as Rashford. As Aidan, you have both of them, you were saying there, do you?
Yeah. I took Maddison in on the wild card actually a few weeks ago. So I think Maddison was always going to be someone that I want. I'd always love having Maddison in FPL. There's something like really, really good about watching him. And like when Leicester's on the TV, you're only going to watch one player, and that's James Maddison, like, because everything goes through him, like, and whenever he finally started to move into his cam position, he's just a lot more threatening, and definitely one that a lot of people will want to bring in, but it's whether they want to spend that money on him. Question.
Yeah. Suppose the 2 fixtures they have are Palace and Villa in this coming week, isn't it? So there's two very, very good chances at getting that big blast of points. Villa, well, do you know what? At the same time, they're going to be 2 very, very hard matches, because defensively you have Villa, who have been, I suppose, not great, but then you have Crystal Palace, who, when it comes against, every now and again, they'll just be like, they might let in 1 every now and again, but they still hold strong, and they play a good game, and it's hard to get a goal in on them, as we've seen from bigger teams like United. So would you think that, would you agree in saying that these 2 matches could be just a great chance for Leicester or for Maddison to kind of rack in those 2 points, or do you think there could be better fixtures, I suppose? Or
it's hard to know what James. It's hard to know what James Maddison at the moment. I think that makes a good point, and that like when he's playing in his cam position, he's very dangerous. Leicester haven't been Leicester this year. I think Palace are very hard to beat this year. Villa are kind of up and down as well, but they do have some good games in them. Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, I brought him in on the free hit there. He didn't do anything, but I do think he's a big haul on him, and it may come in one of these 2 games, but time will tell.
Right.
Villa are very attacking at the minute, I think. They're scored a lot of goals recently. So I've been more looking at Villa attackers than their defenders. I know you have Cash, Killian, but it looks like he's out injured this week.
He's it's actually, sure, while we're on the topic, we may as well kind of boost on past the old Maddison here, and we'll talk about our transfers for this upcoming week. As Patrick stated, Cash, for me myself, Cash is going to be out, and I'm thinking of taking in I've taken in somebody else, and we don't have a Killian's Corner this week, but I'm just gonna give you my cheeky little pick. So it's let me see. I need to pronounce his name correctly here, because it's a little bit of a funny one here.
Put your glasses on.
Hold. Ready.
Oh God.
We've got Pervis is looking at your nan. All right. So we have Pervis is stupid nan. I think that this is going to be a good week for him. Okay, he has a blank up coming, but other than that, Brighton are going to be. I think personally that the Brighton double this week is going to be the best double across the board.
Is he still in Australia or wherever he was playing? Like they had a game. He plays for Ecuador, and they were playing against Australia. I'm not sure whether it was a home or away fixture. But
well, boy, I sure hope not.
That'll be a tight turnaround, playing that match and then coming back. But I actually think he will play.
Podcast can be edited.
No, actually, I have him as well. I think he's going to play. I think he's got enough time there to recover. Matoma as well has been playing for Japan, so I'm sure he'll be back and playing for the weekend, hopefully. I think that's just the nature of the international break. You know, so many players have got like new flags, haven't they? From little knocks they picked up, or like any kind of injury at all, they basically aren't going to go away and play on international break anymore. Seen that with Rashford and Reece James as well, which is annoying because I have him.
Yeah. Okay. So that's going to be my transfer pick for this week. I'm not doing any of the chips, not doing my bench boost or anything. Now we'll move on to we'll go to Aidan. Sure. Now you were talking about. Was it you that was talking about the wee bench boost there now as well? What are your kind of plans for this week coming up?
Yeah, so for me, the bench boost is now active. And I currently have 12 players doubling, with 3 players having single game weeks, and all 3 of those players are Arsenal players versus Leeds at home. So as it stands, I have 2 free transfers as well as the bench boost with 12 doublers and 3 singles, and I just have no idea if I even want to make a sub or not. I know obviously United have good fixtures down the line, so one that I'm thinking of will be Rico Henry to Luke Shaw. So that's one that I'm looking at. And then I think that's probably about it. I kind of trust the Arsenal players a lot more now than I did towards the start of the season. They're now out of Europe. They have no other distractions. We saw how well they played last week against Crystal Palace after getting knocked out of the Conference League or the Europa League 2 nights before. So if they can do that tired, then I'd be very scared of what they could do fresh against a kind of distraught kind of Leeds team at the minute. They're kind of just about all over the shop. So, definitely fancy them. If there was one transfer to do, I would do Rico Henry to Luke Shaw. But as it stands, the rest are all looking good for a bench boost. So, fingers crossed for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Fingers crossed. And I hope it works out well for you. Same is going to be going for Darren here. I believe you're going to be looking at the old bench boost too, are you?
Yeah, at the moment I have Ward for Leicester, Odegaard, White, Cucurella on the bench. So Ward having a double and Chelsea having a double.
Just a wee disclaimer there, Darren. Ward is now dropped for Iverson. FYI.
Oh well, there you go.
Yeah,
he won't get any points. So Odegaard, White, and Cucurella will anyway.
Fair.
Your
man
transfer then, no?
Sorry, just to put in, even on Brendan Rodgers' comments there the last day, he said that Iverson would be getting a kind of prolonged stretch of games now, just like Ward did, to prove himself. So even Iverson at 3.8 million would definitely be an option for people as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then, so I've done 2 transfers. So I've actually taken another -4, something I'm not really happy with. I'm kind of doing it a lot in the last couple of game weeks, but sure, look, kind of had to do it because I didn't wildcard. So I took out Haaland and I brought in Kane, and I took out Darwin Núñez that was there, and I took in João Felix. Now I know Chelsea have an upcoming
my
blank,
God.
I like that.
but I just decided to go for something different, playing Arsenal at home and Liverpool. So, yeah.
I think that's a fantastic shout.
That is so cheeky across the board. Like,
Darren, for the last 3 weeks, when it comes to cheeky picks, you'd be like, "Oh, to be honest, I've just got a boring non-cheeky pick," and then he comes out of the woodwork like, "Bam, kisser," you know.
Well, I have Ferguson and Johnson. Ferguson for Brighton, that is, and Johnson for Forest on my cheeky list or cheeky pick list, but I didn't go for them. I went for João Felix and Kane, which means I have Tony with them up top, McAllister, Martinelli, Matoma, Rashford, Arnold, Trippier, and Kepa. Yeah. So I think 11 doublers, and then with the bench boost, hopefully the Arsenal players may come through. So
nice.
I'm still unsure about the captaincy yet, so we'll see.
Happy.
But I mean, just on that, the only downside is I will be having to look forward to the blank game week. You know, your Brightons, your Chelseas. So I will be phasing them out to get to there because I don't have my free hit. So
Chelsea, like at least you know your team will be dead ending into 32 as well, which is nice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's what I'm looking.
Okay, good stuff. Well, a man who wasn't so confident on whether he was actually going to use the bench boost or not, he had 3 Arsenal players on his bench. Gribben, tell us about your upcoming plans for the next week and a week and a half, even, and what you're thinking.
I'm in a similar boat to Dan. I think I've got Kane and 3 Arsenal players, so I think that's 11 doublers. So it'll be most likely some sort of move to try and get Maddison in. I do have Reece James, who had to come out of the England team because of a knock, but today he's been doing the full training, so he might be all right. So I might get away with that one if I can avoid it. The question is whether or not I go like Odegaard, who's only got a single game week, to Maddison, or maybe someone like Rashford, who there's that injury doubt about, to Maddison. I think that's probably what I'm thinking at the minute. Rico Henry to someone is also a transfer I was thinking, because I don't actually like the double Brentford have. Yeah, I've got 3 of their players. Man United might be a better shout. And Luke Shaw is someone you could possibly keep long term as well.
Exactly my thinking, yeah.
I don't know about the Odegaard to Maddison. I don't know, like the Maddison one is just like, he definitely has a big haul in him, but it's knowing when he's going to do it.
But as you said, like I think like one of you said that he is a maverick. He's like, you don't know, he could get 1 point this week, and then a single game week next week he could pull out a 20-point haul. He's just one of those players. Like it's
all about taking the risk.
It's taking the risk, and like if you hold him for 4 weeks in the hope that he'll haul once or twice, then that's kind of all you really want. But it's just one of those. He's one of those players that make you kind of really, really excited to own in fantasy, and I think that's kind of where I get half my enjoyment from, is watching players like Maddison, and then when he scores, then sure, it's unbelievable.
That's it.
But like the enjoyment I get from watching Casemiro.
Exactly.
From watching Casemiro get suspended.
Our group chat just gets blown up anytime, like a wee 5-yard ball from Casemiro. Just
Did you see that pass, man?
I've been writing a fanfic about Darren and Casemiro.
You should just get ChatGPT to write you a fanfic about Darren and Casemiro.
There you go.
Or should do, yeah. We love affair then, just on this piece on the side. Whenever Casemiro went away on holiday for 2 weeks, he had Joe Felix there, just holding on to him, you know. So we'll see how it goes. But anyway, thanks very much, lads. Good stuff with the transfers and stuff. We're going to move on now to our lovely, renowned final segment of the podcast. We'll have Patrick's Trivia.
Yep, you know how it works this time, lads. We've got another former Man United player, and you've got 10 questions to guess who it is. I'm going to bring up the Wikipedia here so I can make sure I don't get any of your questions wrong. So whenever you are ready, you have 3 minutes, and you will have 10 questions to guess who this former Man United player is.
Darren doesn't get asked first question.
Work out the order amongst yourselves.
From Zimbabwe. No, right,
Sorry.
okay.
Who got Damien Duff last week?
All right, okay. Wow.
Oh, lads, by the way, unreal shout there. It was an unreal shout.
Darren had a little bit of a freaking "that's so Raven" moment.
I was screaming at the monitor once. I was like, "Ask, is he left foot, left foot?" And then once he's narrowed that down, I think he's flew.
Right. Let's get it rocking. Okay,
Yep.
Gribben, start the timer whenever you're ready there.
Timer starts in now.
Okay. Is he from Europe?
No.
Lads, I know Gribben's done it. He's done it. I know exactly who it is. Anyway, carry on. He's smiling too because he knows he's done it.
Right. So, do we want to nail down if they were in like the famous Champions League era, or?
Yeah, we'll need to go for a time frame of when he played. So will we go from 2000 onwards?
Do you want to just go under Ferguson?
Yeah, did he play under Alex Ferguson managing?
What year did Ferguson retire? 2013, right?
No, 20. Oh yeah, it probably was. Yeah, 13. Yeah, he won the league in 12, wouldn't he? With Van Persie.
And what? Yes. Then he did.
He did play under Ferguson.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so he's not European,
And
he
he's
played
not
under Alex
European.
Ferguson.
Is he South American?
No.
So
Would
he's not South American. He's not European.
would Mexico come under?
Yeah,
That
South
is South
America,
America.
though?
Yeah,
South
yeah,
America. Yeah.
Okay.
So would he be?
fair.
Hold on. Would he be? Did,
Okay, so you're talking Asian. You're talking maybe African, Oceanic. I don't think they had any Australian, New Zealand players. So you want to try Asian?
Yeah, go Asian. I bet you it's Shinji Kagawa. I just know Patrick will pick someone like that. We're not guessing that.
Is this person Asian?
Yes.
Right, so it's Ji-sung Park.
Oh, Park's a good one.
Kagawa.
Will we ask did he play in the German league? Kagawa played with Dortmund. Park Ji-sung, did he play in Germany? Don't think he did.
No.
Did he play in the German league after his Man United career or before, or did he play any time in the German league?
Yes.
That's got to be Kagawa, does it?
Is this player Shinji Kagawa?
Yes, it is, boys.
Jesus,
Got it in
boys,
6
well
questions. Very well done.
There you go.
That was
think
brilliant, actually.
Also, I did. Mexico's in North America, so I would have.
What?
I could
Yeah,
have still
I was just-
qualified Chicharito there. So
I was just about. That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Killian was like, yeah, it's definitely in South America. Yeah, definitely.
Never mind. Right.
Once
Anyway,
once we kind of nailed down the Asian kind of countries, then we were flying like because there's only a handful of them, I think. Good stuff, boys. Very
Good stuff,
enjoyable
boys.
episode.
yeah.
Getting
Thank you
better
very
at this.
much, lads. Thank you for joining me again for a lovely another
One
week.
more thing, Killian. We always forget this
Yes.
at the end. Hey, we want to know the captaincy.
Oh yes. Quick, 2 seconds. Who's everybody's captain pick? Patrick.
Solly March.
Aidan.
Oh, Sally March as well.
Darren.
It's currently on McAllister.
Oh, and I am the exact same as that. I have McAllister as well. We've got 2 on Sally March. We've got 2
All
on
Brighton.
McAllister.
Interesting.
All Brighton. We're all looking forward to this next game week and hoping that Brighton bring in the haul for each of us individually. Hopefully March takes a fat shit. But anyway, thank you very much, everybody, for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe on YouTube if you're watching our beautiful faces on YouTube. And if you are on Spotify, tell a friend. Go on. Throw us a 5-star review. Why not? It's free.
Absolutely.
It's absolutely 100% free. What more could you want?
So do it right.
All it takes is a little flick of the wrist, and then that's it. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. We will see you next week. Take care and have a good game week.
Bye.
Slán, lads.
Bye bye.